High school teachers of Reddit, what is the one thing that you want your students to know that you'd never tell them in person? Your parents are literally the worst part of my job. Yes, I put you in a group with the kid you have a crush on intentionally. I'm stuck here with you 180 days a year, I want to see some drama. I think what you learn in the other classes is mostly useless rubbish, the things you're supposed to do to learn it is boring and ineffective, and the way our schools are organized is archaic and not fit for humans, much less kids. Stop wearing your furry tail. Everyone is uncomfortable. Yes, we have a new seating chart, and yes, I sat you next to her because I can tell you have a crush on her. I noticed you try harder on your work when she is around, and to be honest, you two would make a cute couple, smiley face. You know that's kind of cute. Update, they became good friends, but did not date. Both improved grades, so a win-win. I am no longer a teacher, but I remember several days that I felt lazy and wanted to give the class the day off. I never did because I knew the teacher's pet would rat me out. Sometimes even the teachers don't like the teacher's pet. I can see who you have a crush on in the classroom. Look, obviously I am on Reddit all day too, or I wouldn't be posting here, but for the love of God, can you please pretend to be working so I can go back to being disappointed by reposts? If your parents email a teacher and argue with them, the whole staff knows. At least at my school. Yes, and when there is a parent who is particularly awful to a teacher, that teacher will warn all of the kids' future teachers before they even sit in their assigned seat on the first day of school. That we have much better hearing than you assume. We just choose our battles as it pertains to inappropriate comments. And sometimes I pretend not to see that thing you did just because I too found it humorous, and speaking to you about it would only result in me cracking up. If I know your name by the third day of a new school year, that means you're probably in a hole. Or, you have a really weird name. Or it's a very small school. Or I had your brother, sister, and they were either really awesome or extremely terrible. When you think you are being genius by getting me to talk about random things at the beginning of class instead of teaching, I'm really allowing it to happen. See, I don't have enough plan to cover a full class. My favorite high school teacher, he taught history, confessed on the last day of my senior year that he always started class by talking about something completely random because he knew none of us were ready to pay attention right when class was supposed to start. Had no idea. It was a really good strategy that made the transition into the lesson a lot less jarring. Not a teacher but an evening janitor. Part of my area is where the robotics club gathers and works. You guys are so amazing. I wish you could see what I see. A group of kids who are well mixed in ethnicity and gender working hard together. I never see signs of drama when I walk by. When I look through the windows I can see that you guys are listening to each other and treating each other seriously, while also having fun. When you guys leave at night, your room is my favorite room to clean. It's always so clean already and I get to look at your projects and see what all that elbow grease is doing. It's so encouraging to know that these kids are part of our future. They stay an average of 2 hours after school every day and you can tell it's not forced. They are so enthusiastic that their energy practically shines into the hallway. I celebrate every time a new award is added to the trophy cabinet in the hall. You are right. The administration is completely out of touch when it comes to technology. I also work better while listening to music on my phone. That my students are the reason why I am second-guessing having my own kids. My students are the reason I don't have kids. Please stop dueling in the classrooms, that's what the bathrooms are for. Recently my school put detectors in the restrooms, but some kid in one of my classes still needed his nicotine fix, so he ripped a fat one with his face in his backpack and said the smoke was his laptop malfunctioning. Why are there toilets in the dual room? That it's just as weird for me as it is for you when we bump into each other in public. Edit, instead of responding to all, I'll tell my story here. I went on vacation with my then GF, and bumped into a student 3 states over. We both kind of shook our heads, no, at each other, and kept walking, silently agreeing to not address it. I saw this same student again 2 months later, during the summer, at a concert where they were underage drinking. We just shook our heads at one another again, keeping that same silent agreement. I saw this same student 4 more times during the summer entirely by accident. It was never discussed. I saw my English teacher at the grocery store one. We made eye contact and I nodded. He nodded back. We kept walking. Said nothing about it the next day. Never brought it up. That's proper procedure. One of my high school Spanish teachers came to view my parents' guest house that was for rent. I made damn sure I went out and said hola to her. I couldn't have my Spanish teacher living 20 feet from my house, even if she was one of the hot teachers. Right now my students are up in our mobile. Class was supposed to start at noon. My co-teachers and I are down in the classroom. They're thinking, if no one goes down there to get them, we won't have to do any work. We're thinking, let's see if anyone comes down here to grab us. Social experiment. If not, we don't have to do anything. The events that happen when the day should have been a snow day. If I didn't think you would abuse the situation, I would really enjoy being more human and casual around you. I think you are a fun person to be around. This one hits home. I was close with a couple teachers through high school, and would even put in extra effort in those classes. But when the teacher would get to a comfortable level around us, it was easy to forget that they got there because of the effort I put in, and it isn't an excuse to stop trying cause they like you. I would honestly tell my little kindergartners that life is tough. I love you. Many of you can't count on your parents at all. You're poor and have to work harder. I need you to understand how important your education is for having a better life. But I'm a male teacher in early childhood. Distance is very important, and can't afford to have a parent go all mama bear on me. So I just do my best to make them feel valued in my class. The odds of you using any specific piece of knowledge you learn in high school is slim. The odds of you using some piece of knowledge from high school is near absolute, and you have no idea what it's going to be or when it will happen, so you may as well try at all of it. The biggest thing you're going to learn is how to learn. I'm going to print this out and hang it in my classroom. To my freshmen, yes, I always know when you didn't do my math because you stayed up late playing Fortnite. You added me as a friend on Epic, so I see that. Also, the amount of homework not done in lower grades when new battle passes come out is so coincidental. To a specific freshman, I support your desire to become a streamer, but editing videos should not keep you away from your homework for a whole week, and your friends always rat you out when you stay home. Skip to make, edit those videos. To all high schoolers I teach, you're dumb, but I do love you guys. I'm not stupid, and while I know you cheat on your homework, I don't care since it's only worth 10% of your grade and you're foregoing the practice you can get before the test. To the 6th graders I teach math to. Dear Lord, you make me cringe so hard I have to take ibuprofen some days. I have so much more, but my lunch break is almost over. I taught after school care, summer school for a year, and I want so badly to tell them that now is a great time to find out who they are and to stop parroting what they hear other people say, too. Stop trying so hard to make Jamie like you and be your friend, because even though you and Jamie have been friends since pre-K, people growing apart is normal, and Jamie is a manipulative minge muffin. 3. I kept Owen and other troublemakers close to me in class because giving them just a little positive attention was infinitely preferable to giving them all of my attention in a negative light. Plus, maybe they just needed someone to listen and give them one-on-one, which I'm happy to do. 4. It's useless saying it because it's not going to make a difference, but this week's crisis won't matter next year or maybe even next week, and it certainly won't matter on your deathbed. A few off the top of my head. Just because I like you as a person doesn't mean that I won't fail you. Being smart isn't a justification for being lazy, and I can't pass someone that never hands in work. I moved you away from your friends because they were taking you down with them. You have a real future in sports, but you need to pass my class to play them. Your friends were making you fail, and if you don't get to play volleyball, I don't know what kind of future you have in front of you. I wish that the positivity that you get in my class could follow you home. I've met your parents and they are a nightmare. I do my best to encourage you here, but I know that, some days, that just might not be enough. I have never and will never find a student intimidating. That's why I laughed at you when you asked me if I knew who your father was. Yeah, he's the manager of a car dealership. That means nothing to nobody. I had a kid throw a desk at me, and, while it scared me in the moment, it didn't make me fear him. One day, you will meet someone who has real power, and I just wish that I could be there to see it. I hate the texts as much as you do, but everyone just shrugs when I suggest changing them up. I'm sorry they made us keep that awful after book on the list. I genuinely offered to buy them all back from students so I could burn the waste of time that they are. One day you're going to come across people who are not being paid to tolerate you, and all of a sudden life is going to become considerably more difficult. One of the most valuable lessons I can teach you is to fake looking busy. If we're supposed to be working on an assignment or reading or whatever, and you see me coming your way, at the least have a piece of paper on your desk and a pen in your hand and something on your paper, and then I won't bother you. If you have nothing going on and can't even be bothered to make it look like you're trying, I'm heading your way. This lesson will be invaluable with eventual bosses someday. My welding teacher told me something similar about when he was on job sites. If the boss hasn't told you to do anything, then get the biggest wrench you can find and walk around looking worried. The longest HES ever done that for was an hour and a half. I hope your students never find out your username. Yes, I do have favorite students. No, I won't tell you who they are because that would discourage you, but yes, they're probably who you imagine them to be.